Helen, Helen, who are you? Would you like to introduce yourself?
That's a difficult one. Cosmic agent.
Cosmic agent. Excellent.
Retired. Well, not retired. I've gone from cosmic agent undercover to cosmic agent retired, and therefore free to live and participate in life wherever I'm called. This week I'm called to Karlskrona to the Art of Hosting training.
And art of hosting, what is that? What is it?
The art of hosting and harvesting conversations that matter is the closest I have encountered to an operating system that can allow humanity to self-organize as a social field that is coherent and inclusive and constantly learning and adapting.
On the more pragmatic level, when did this organization start out?
There's no such thing as an art of hosting organization. It's a network of a global network of practitioners, which is self-organizing. So it's people practicing the practice, which is how we know it works. And it grew out of a whole pioneering change movement with a number of different people from different fields coming together in inquiry about how can we do things differently, and using the various different social technologies for collective intelligence, like appreciative inquiry, like open space technology, like the World Cafe, like the practice of circle. So these were people who were using these practices and sharing with each other what they were learning from doing that, and exploring how else they could do it. And at a given moment, they just had the idea of teaching each other, and so the first training came about. And the art of hosting is actually a training. It is a training in the practices that have since been described as the fourfold practice of hosting ourselves and each other and practicing together in community. So,
but what is the common denominator? Because you talk about methodologies, and you mentioned a few like open space and cafe seminar. What is the common denominator in a way? Because it's also beyond methodologies. It's something.
Yeah, the methodologies are the tip of the iceberg. Beneath that, there is a whole worldview, really, that and an assumption that we are living in a complex living system, it's not a mechanistic worldview. It's a living systems worldview where we are noticing how nature does it, and we are inspired by that to participate in a much more organic way, which trusts the processes, the natural processes, the way nature self-organizes. So it's very much inspired from that. And we're always learning. We're always learning. We're all in that process of learning how to let go of control and let the magic happen.
It's really interesting that you say organic and let nature do its course. I noticed a lot of the metaphors, like harvesting a village, the village meeting, etc., are like rural metaphors, and also talking about earth a lot. Could you talk a little bit about these metaphors and where they derive from?
Again, it's we're going back to our basic human nature, really. Humans have been sitting around in circles for a long time. So it's in a way we are making the assumption that these ways of self-organizing are how we do it as part of nature, and the metaphors that we use are evocative of natural processes. So harvesting is something that you do intentionally after you've planted a seed. You've created the conditions in which a seed can grow. So you've created good soil, could be good relationships. You plant a seed, which could be an invitation or an idea, in that soil. And then you nurture it, but you leave it alone to take its own course, and you observe it as it's going. And then at the end, there's something to harvest, or there could be many different harvests, because there are tangible and intangible harvests. When you plant a seed, you don't know what's going to come from that seed. One of our favourite metaphors is you can count the seeds in an apple, but you can't count the apples in a seed. So it's we're planting seeds, but this is a complex living system, and people will go away with the seeds that have been planted in them by the conversations that they've had. You've got no idea what's going to come from that, the ripples that will come. So,
where does these metaphors resonate, do you find, in the world where you apply out of hosting?
Well, I have come from 30 years of working in the European Commission in Brussels. So that is what we call a monumental, hierarchical bureaucracy. And even there, where we don't call it art of hosting, we call it participatory leadership. And even there, these metaphors work. They work anywhere where there's actual human beings, because we are actual human beings. We are part of the food chain. We are part of the life cycle. We are born messily. We die and we compost and all of those things. And we plant seeds. All of those things.
I think that's reassuring that even in a VUCA world,
yes,
it's volatile,
particularly in a VUCA world, these are practices for a VUCA world.
It's a kind of a oneness longing that lies inherent, as I see it and hear it, in this, like in a way, the 1970s avant-garde. There's this oneness longing that you can heal the postmodern breakup of humanity. What do you think of this notion?
I think that it's not a oneness longing, it's a oneness knowing, and in the meantime the one has become the many, and the many are unfolding in the one. So it's not about trying to find unity again, it's trying to enjoy and maximize our freedom in our diversity. And so part of what we're discovering, that we're learning now, is that what wants to heal or what wants to happen in humanity is popping up in our gatherings as practitioners of the art of hosting. So a lot of what's coming in at the moment is trauma. People's trauma is as we are in this VUCA world and we're awakening to the ways in which we've damaged each other and the ways in which patriarchy and colonialism are not okay, but then we're learning, oh shit, I'm white, I'm privileged, how do I do all of that stuff that's coming out? It's how do we deal with our trauma, knowing that we're all traumatized in different ways. How do we prise our fingers off our identification with our trauma so that it can actually heal? How do we hold each other in that? How do we get work done while we're hurting and hating and projecting and running away and aching and groaning, how do we hold each other in that? How can we refine our centers when our trauma is triggered? So it's learning to be real at a deeper level with each other, and still we've got work to do together.
So this is a healing process, aiding to that.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't noticed my own trauma healing, but I can certainly get on with it much more easily, and I can still function. I can find my way back into my power and my center, and I can help other people to do that. We do it collectively. We're learning how to do that. So I still don't know whether healing is what's happening. But learning how to be with all of who we are and reclaim all of that is part of, and we need each other for that. And so I'm seeing these art of hosting practices actually deepening into our capacity to be with the deeper stuff is growing. So it feels like something that's part of life, part of evolution.
In the, I want to go back to the UN, where you rephrased it into...
Oh, the commission, you mean?
Yeah. Commission.
Participatory leadership.
Participatory leadership. What specific results did you see come up there? Or how did you apply it, etc.? Just a little bit on that.
Well, we started off among friends and colleagues, just experimenting and playing around and exploring what potential do we see for doing this. So inviting it in our own contexts where we needed to explore different questions. So hosting meetings in a different way. And then it was picked up on also by the learning and development department, the training department, and they were going, is this something that managers could use? And no. And so inviting it in through the training, and it's grown. It's been now 14 years, I think, that it's been in the system, and we've put well over 2,000 people through a 3-day training, and we have, the genie is out of the bottle. There's no getting it back in there, and it is spreading in all sorts of different ways, in normal meetings, in change processes, reorganizations, in consultations with citizens, there's participatory policy making going on. There's a lot of experimenting going on, and even it's now moving up to the highest levels. We've got some of the heads of departments, the directors general, as we call them, who are stepping up to host their departments in becoming more self-organizing. There's all sorts of things going on, and also in the Commission's relationships with with all of the stakeholders throughout the economy. That these ways of working, we're actually spreading the practices so that people are stakeholders from social justice movement or from the circular economy movement. They're going, oh wow, this is a great way of working, and we're going, we'll go to a art of hosting training and you can learn how to do it. So they're learning from us. So the bird is learning from the dinosaur.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Who would you, as a last ending note, who would you say should come to art of hosting? Who's this especially as a practitioner applying to?
Basically, it's a matter of, do you feel called? Our approach is invitational. It's, if you feel called, please be welcome.
Thank you.